minutes early. I don't care. This day has to end and this stream has to start. It has been one of the hardest days in my life. Things are like my world's falling over apart or whatever you want to say. And with this stream needs to start. Hi, Marco, who I know is here. Hi, James, who I know is here because he said I'm here. I hope Mike's gonna join soon. So you three people, we got the crew going. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be Return to Nuendo. You know, huge. Like movies made by directors who are supposed to win stuff already, you know. And so we're here. We're here. Microphone works. I think we have to set our stuff. We have our good Marco, who not only has joined again, Mike is looking forward to filter-only mix. There's evil afoot in this stream. Now, I've been made fun of, genuinely, because I've been using a lot of ProQ and FabFilter stuff. Now, I know the FabFilter people, and unfortunately the FabFilter people know me well enough to know that I love what they do. I love what they do. I don't use all of their products, but they don't care. You know, they're pros. But there's been an increase in the use of FabFilter Pro stuff, like the Q, the MB, the DS always been using, and the C, Saturn. I mean, man, come on, you know. So I understand why Mike is looking forward to a FabFilter only. He was looking for such a vintage kind of vibe on part of his stuff. Like he's going to pull up some kind of 1073 emulations and stuff. And I went for the cleanest, most bidimensional kind of UIs ever. So here's what we're going to do. So I said it, Return to Nuendo. And do we switch immediately to it? No. Let's do this first. Welcome, everybody. This is the Thursday Mixdown episode you will know better than I do. Oh, it's 13. I just read it there on the prompter, which is working for me. Hasn't been hijacked. Why? Well, maybe I'm not hated. So here, thanks to my non-hijacked teleprompt, I see it is number 14. So now that I've said that, and then we have these going for us, we have our beautiful Marco with a song, Time Will Tell, that was sent from Beyond Mood, if I'm not mistaken. Check him out. There's everything in the descriptions. And we are returning to Nuendo. We never left, as James said. James kind of got us. We never, ever left, right? But that doesn't mean that this is a black screen, you know? But all screens matter. So, wait. It's going to come up. Boom. All right. So, this is Return to the Return of Nuendo. You see here? We're going to load one template of mine anyway, okay? We're going to do that. And we have to kind of find, I think it's kind of like basic mixing. You'll have to bear with me as I open some stuff. I'm thinking this is what we're gonna use. Scoring template, July 2025, work in progress, version 1. I make all this stuff up. It doesn't really mean anything. Have you understood that by now? WIP, Joule 2025, V1. I've even went along and played pro with like effects, basses, VCAs. Spaces Water says, so good to catch you live, my friend. How are you, Space? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Thank you for saying that you're here, because I genuinely have no idea who's connected to the stream. I know you think I do know. I do not know. Other YouTubers or Twitch streamers might do. I honestly do not. So if you don't type anything, you're going to stay invisible. End of the class. Teacher's never going to call you out. That's amazing. I like that as well, you know. You can make paper planes, you know. Look at potential sexual partners, but online that's kind of hard, or maybe easier, but that's up to you. I don't look in your browser tabs. So we're here. Space says, I'm always watching all your videos even when I can't catch you live. Your channel and wisdom is awesome. Thank you very much. Now, you were not here, or maybe you were here at the beginning. I am telling you, people, I had so far one of the worst weeks in a while. Like, it's IRL stuff. I don't want to bother you with what's going on in my life, but I'm telling you, it's tough. But luckily, there's no health involved. So, don't send prayers in vain because, it's no health involved. Everything's good, everything's fine. But man, is it hard to just find purpose? And I'm not talking about global news, which is something that is insane. Space says, I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you very much for your sympathy. It's just, I hope it's going to get better. But man, and all the days, today was unbearable. Like the anger levels that I had on some stuff that has happened has just got me wound up, as you say. But I was so looking forward to this stream. I'm glad we're here, that you are here. You have no idea what it means for me to know that there's people watching me doing this. You have no idea. I know I'm sincere. But if you even think that I'm like 99% sincere, man, are you wrong. This is like 100% pure. So, as I said, did I digress? No. By the way, man, it reminds me of a teacher of mine who's been an idol for me. R.I.P. He was insane. Not just as a musician, but as a teacher. He would go so mad at stuff when we would make mistakes in class or not play right. And then all of a sudden he would chill and go, oh, hi, by the way, how are you doing? This kind of sounded as one of those places. Man, you're a good, honest person. I knew that when I first found your channel. Thank you, Space. And I'm going to tell you this in all honesty. I think, thank you for your words. I am a believer that these things kind of get across. Like, you can't fake who you are. If you're not something, I am not many things. You know I am not those things. There's just no way I can pretend. Like, fake it till you make it. It doesn't make any sense. If you're not something, you're not something. But if you are, it will pass through, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, real life, doesn't matter. So, as I said, July 2025, WIP version 1, FX buses VCAs. Man, we're going to open this thing. But what you can take a look at when it's my open recent, you see the stuff I've been working on in Nuendo. And you see sometimes there's names for tracks. And those names for tracks are the hope that I get some licensing done. Because, man, look these up. This is going to be another one. Ready? Reason, please. Tell us how you feel. Look at that. Not being doxxed, because you know my email. That one you have. But my Reason Plus sub expired. And no, I cannot get a Reason Plus sub the way you would get it, because I'm into deep levels of new feature stuff. I cannot even talk about that, honest. I cannot. So it needs to be renewed differently. We're going in, people. We're loading that, and we're opening this. We're going to open Marcus' song. Man, I even have 44 days left of McDSP, which is a coincidence because we are going to use McDSP plugins almost exclusively. Okay? We know we're missing rack extensions. Thank you, Nuendo. So, what has been going on, not IRL, in my musical life? We've tried live. We loved live. Ableton Live. Beautiful thing. Works amazingly. So on and so forth. I want to map this. Exactly to this. Why isn't that happening? Well, because I know. All right. Ready? Ooh, modular. No, we don't load modular in here. All right. Save. Good. We have my template. Okay. Do I need to make myself kind of like super small? Kind of evaluating that. Let me know if you think I should, because I'm like taking a load of real estate space. Maybe it's not necessary. Maybe for now, yes, but then we're going to get like, just a headshot kind of a thing. So we're going to replace Reason because we have to replace Reason. and because it's not working right now. So we're gonna find alternatives. And I know you have questions on that. I'm gonna show you where I've used this. For mixing, I have a couple spots. For composing, I have 100 spots, so that's a problem. But for mixing, it's not gonna be that hard. It's gonna be missed, but it's doable. And then we're gonna pave our way through McDSPs, because Mike, your good friend and my good friend Mike, who is not here, who is not here. Why is Mike not here? He's the one who asked me kindly to just use McDSP plugins on this stream. And my idea before his request was to use McDSP plugins all the way, mostly. You know why? And you have to bear with me if you think it's a waste of your time. McDSP is running a promo on 50% off those plugins. I have been using their plugins for probably since about 2006 for good, 7 at least, but I had studios using some of their stuff when Filter Bank came out, which is kind of like probably around that era. And I became a McDSP artist, I think in 2019 or 2020. So I've paid my dues, and I've been bothering Colin McDowell for so long. After a while, he was like, this guy, let's do this. And I was like, oh, my friend, that was so good to do this. That was finally, and so I am in there. Doesn't matter. I've been using their stuff and I would still use their stuff. This is no business things. I get no money if you use their plugins or not. But man, their stuff is good. Also, I have muscle memory. I have my ears on it. It's zero latency and it's low CPU, which to me, when I compose and write music, you know how I do compose. To me, there's no mixing. There's composing in mixing, and then there's a finalizing kind of part. So, Space said, you've been using Bitwig a little, if I remember right. Absolutely, yes. I have about, first and foremost, I made the Fears to Fathom sound, the scares, jumps, the jump scares, the scare stings. That's the word I was looking for, but it's called jump scares. Like all of the Fears to Fathom was made in Bitwig. And, and it worked. But I have about, I think, 15 or 20 sketches that I've made there that I've sent around. I have my template in there as well. Bitwig works. Problem is, there is nothing that can keep things as solid and on point between MIDI and audio and plugins and virtual instruments and retain the sheer power and resource usage optimization of Nuendo and Cubase in the world. To me, there's nothing. I dare say Pro Tools isn't even touching this guy. And if it is, they're equal. But for composing, Nuendo is off the hook, or Cubase. And for immersive audio, no game. Nuendo is all there. If you do ambisonics, I've been working on some of that stuff with people who do it. Nuendo. That's actually how I got into Nuendo. So look at that screen. It looks complicated. Well, it does. Yeah, it looks complicated a little bit. But don't worry about that. So I've done those sketches, and I think 2 or 3 of those 16s, 20, let's say 20, I think 2 of them has been licensed, and 2 of them have been licensed, which means 1 on 10, which means it's on par with statistics. It's okay, But I've made many more in here as well. I haven't used Live. I haven't used Studio One for a while, but I made my first scoring records and stuff on Studio One, 2019, 2020, 2021 as well was Studio One. You have old videos of mine. I bought Nuendo and never installed it as yet. With using Bitwig, I'm learning more of Nuendo from you. I am like an elderly home guest in Nuendo, but if you, I don't want to have you join my Patreon because of the people in there, but they're very good people and very nice people. But there's Gary, whose channel you can look at. It's called Cubase Academy. Gary is unbelievable. He knows everything about Cubase. So, look it up on YouTube, Cubase Academy, Gary Thompson. Good friend now of all of us in here. He has it. I am a 93-year-old playing, baseball in here, but it works so well for me. And Marco says Ultimate Comp and ML4 are gold. Yeah, absolutely. It's true. So, mixing, finally. So, we have everything here. Let me ditch. Do I need to get small? I need to get small, people. This is like there's so much real estate being used. It's not even fun. So, let me jump to where we have reason, which I know for a fact is in one of my effects here. DZ uses reason. And we have to bypass reason. Actually, you know what? Let me save as. And let me go here, not templates. Mixing sessions. Do I have the Thursday Mixdown in here? Not even. Such a joke. All right, mixing sessions. TTM EP14. Boom. Save as, people. Remember, never overwrite out of a sheer excitement. You look good for 93. Yeah. I do. I behave like a 93-year-old in here because it's it's like walking on glasses sometimes. Okay, so we have all bass. We gotta ditch this guy and we gotta ditch this guy. So our DZ is basically useless. We're not using DZ. I kind of hate it, but that's gonna work. So much in here. I don't think it's gonna be a problem because it's just gonna pass audio through. So this is all of my effects, basses, all synths. We've got our pedals going on. Okay, so here's one thing we've got to do. We got to make sure we've got our buses right because I've rebuilt my effects and stuff. And I need to make sure that we've got 1, 2, that's true, 15, 16. Okay, awesome. So let's move on to importing Marco's stuff. First and foremost, 48 kilohertz 24-bit with a pan law of -3. That doesn't quite work in here. It's more of a -4.5 and it's a 32-bit float. Marcos told me, which no need to confirm. I know that he told me. So this is all good. 48 kilohertz 32-bit float, broadcast wave file, volume max +12. It depends how you want to work on it. I probably +6 is fine, but I'm reckless. -4.5. All right. Now we go down here. We take a ride into our media, and we go to file browser, and we go to Marcos, and we have time will tell. So Marcos put folders for us, which is good. Let's do drums first. Now, remember, I had the selection of saying, it doesn't matter what kind of file format this is, drop it in, don't ask me. It's horrible, don't do that. You gotta be sure you're importing 48 kilohertz, otherwise you're gonna resample on the fly, which isn't what we wanna do. Okay, so we go to bar 1. As you can see, my template is a bar 300 milligazillions. Let's go here. I'm not even rewinding manually. Doesn't matter. I remember, so we can drag things like this, different tracks, convert to project settings and copy folder if needed. Yes. We don't split channel. Don't ask again. No, I want it now. I want it to ask me all the time. Let's ditch the mixer for a second. Because Marco was so kind to just give us colors, like groups, I'm gonna color according to the import. So these are drums. These colors you can get on my Patreon. These are the way you do things. Colorize your way around. And let's put things in a folder. So you have something that is, I'm gonna tell you where that is. It's in here. Why isn't it in here? Oh man, muscle memory not tracking. Move selected tracks to new folder. You can make a shortcut for it, but then would you be in an elderly home if you did? No, so don't do it. Do it manually. So 1- drums. Now we do bass. Okay, we got these two. Select it, drop it down here. Different tracks. Convert. Boom. Now bass, which James is just gonna jump on his chair, is as magenta as it can ever be. We know that. Everybody knows it. even if this thing doesn't want me to color it that way. Oh, please do, come on. Because I'm not in track selection. My bad. See, minefield. So this has to be here. We were not selecting tracks. We do right click, we do move to new folder. You guessed it, we do double click, bass. Good. Then we fold the folders. And then we go to synths, because I think synths is coming next for me. Then we go here, drag it here, different tracks, ask again, boom, right? Now, synths, believe it or not, that's the right color, sorta. Not true, I'm lying to you. It would be these kind of, dark, but it's kind of giving me PTSD for some reason. So I'm gonna do the synths kind of like this way. Not lighter though, because otherwise, we could do this. Nah, it's PsyTrance. Let's do this. So they were selected, move to new folders, double click, synths. And that's why you never mix on day one, because you've got these to do. Okay, boom. The vocal part is gold because the singer is the star of the thing. You can do like this. And we do a folder for it again. We go move, select it. You see why a shortcut would be nice, right? And I want to do Control R, but that's not right. Vocals. We fold the foldable. And we have effects and reverb returns. Okay. We can't drag a folder in. Why so stupid? Let's do that. Okay. Boom. Now, these are effects, and because they're effects, they're cyan. Like, everybody knows that. Or light azure. But, here. Muscle memory from live had me do Control R, sorry. Man, and then reverb returns. Which I would put in effects, but Marco put it differently, so I'm gonna do these. Oh, hold on. Do we have a prop? What did I do? Why did I put it in here? Oh, because I was playing. Okay. Okay, so I potentially created a problem in here. Just because boom. And I did Control R again. Reverb returns. Okay. So now we have our groups. We have everything connected and things like that. Our mixer's all wrong, for sure. So I'm gonna compress this, which is this button right here. And this has to be done like, it has to be painful. You have to be like super small. Now here, what I wanna do is I actually wanna put these tracks on top, right here. The markers we're gonna make like yellow. And then we have all the drums right here. All the drums, basses, and other things up front. So, problem is this. Our drums are wrong. They should not be sent to main out because that's my main output. So we're going for no input, which is no bass or no input, and we're going for all drums. Okay? Our bass. Notice I have Q-Link. That's very important. I'm treating this video as return to Nuendo. So, if you haven't used Nuendo in a while, you're kind of getting along here. Then we've got our synths. Because Q-Link is engaged, I don't need any shortcut. See? Right hand's free. No joke. All synths. Do I have all synths? I cannot. Yes, I do. Like, what kind of a template person am I if I don't have no synths? Then we have all vocals. And yes, this is my scoring template. But it will work. Worry not. Okay, then we send the effects to, honestly, all effects. Because it's effects. And these are also effects. So for now, I'm going to send them. What have I done here? Okay, it's just these. Man, I've picked exactly the same color. Shame on me. So these are going to be all effects anyway. Okay, it could become all drums. I could send the reverbs to the actual drums. I'll probably do that, but for now, that's what it is. Then we have my pedals. We have the 2-bass return. We have my software effects. You see how some of them are actually going to the pedals. And then we have hardware, all the basses here. Okay, so there is some stuff. And then we've got maybe one of the most important things, since we're talking McDSP, on practically all of my buses is an F202, so that's how we're starting our McDSP journey. This is a filtered Mac. It's just got filters, high pass and low pass, and I'm setting a 6 or 12 dB per octave. And if I want, I usually kind of engage this at 100 hertz without, like, on Q0. And I have an input of -6. So I'm kind of trimming down -6 to get a little bit more leeway, because I kind of compose loud, mix loud, compose loud. So I like to do that. But you see how not all of the channels have the HPF. But I like to have a high-pass filter at the ready, at 100 hertz usually, and then I mix into it need be. I'm going to show you, for example, the synths are probably going to have it. Okay, it's a 6 dB per octave, 100 hertz in this case, right here, -6. So synths will have it by default. There's brass, there's strings, there's choir, there's things we really don't know we're going to need. Probably we're not going to need, but then we've got beats, drums, grooves, perks. For example, drums. Do drums have this filter? No, see? They don't. It's at the ready. I could always turn it on, but it's not here. I use this to kind of get a little bit more clearance in the low registry. Everything's there. I mean, it's done. It's all good. Then there's my mix bus that is comprised of a 6030 Ultimate Comp that's doing kind of like a fair, childish, more modern, very new movement, not that much. It's got an SCHPF already set just in case. And then I'm following it up with 6020 again. I mean, the 6020 is the collection of EQs, the 30 is the collection for compressors. So I'm following these up with the NIS 670, which is the equalizer of the series of the, say, Fairchild, to give you an idea. And I'm kind of bumping some 5.3, something like that, nothing else, because I think it contributes to that pizzazz of the highs. I've always been a fan of Varimuse that kind of have that tube forwardness on the 5K. Then we have my Soundtech plugin set to Skywarmer sound. It's a ubiquitous effect here. We could change it for something else if we wanted, but I usually have this. And for those of you keeping track, I keep pure analog mode. I don't use aggressive usually, but I like how it sounds there as well. Then here we have bass processor, and I'm thinking I'm gonna replace this with compressor back, just because we're doing McDSP today. But you know, it's good to know where we start. Then we've got Good Math from Make Believe Studios. How are you doing, Make Believe Studios? Those people are unbelievable. I love their plugins, but they're weird sometimes. And then we've got Alberto's DZ Mix Touch, because there's something I worked on whose DZ is an acronym, and I've kept this because I had done a mix, sent it to like a couple sketches, maybe more, 5, 6, sent it to the audio lead, who's a good friend of mine, and he was going to show it to another audio lead, and she said, the second audio lead said, there's, you know, like they did this kind of thing to my mixes at the time because they wanted a little bit more forwardness for headphones, whatever. So I kind of re-emulated these and I kept it. And for some reason, when I sent that this way, it never originated that kind of thing. They never did it again. So I think like, okay, that's how they want it. And I started thinking that because they worked on famous stuff as well. And I was like, that's probably how the famous stuff they worked on has to be, you know? And so I've kind of kept this EQ forever. And I had the Good Math as well, which does nothing but adding numbers. And so I'm thinking I'm kind of adding a dB or so here in bunches of 33. And it just messes up the rounding or whatever. So it doesn't matter. It is not maybe part of the sound. Then we've got other stuff, tone control, good force, the Oxford limiter. But let's instantiate a limiter right off the bat here. Let me do ML4, ML1, the 4000 ML1. Probably the limiter, absolutely, probably 100% sure, the limiter I've used the most. Now, it's PsyTrance. We're not going for true peak. We might even go for plus, but I'm honest to you, we're gonna go minus 0.01 ceiling, and I'm telling you, this is really not what you want to do for digital audio. If it's lossy, it needs to go to -1 true peak to avoid weird stuff. But there's very loud PsyTrance music coming out of speakers, so that's how we're gonna do. How much has it been? We haven't heard anything. It's been a lot, right? Okay, so let's take our drums, solo these, and press play. I am not sure you're gonna hear anything, so I'm gonna make sure that you do after a while. Let me check my control room. But we're chilling, so we're, making sure we're doing stuff. So stream doesn't have anything. Monitors have these play 15, 16. Let me see the inserts. We have mixer delay, -4.5. Sonobus. Oh, I have to do this. Okay, let me join my channel here. Armor, right, connect. Okay, so, okay, this is so I'm sending audio to my DAW, my streaming rig. So this should be set. What do I have here? 4.5, so we're ditching it a little bit. Okay, let's try and play this. Let's hear if things are working nicely. They should. So here's the drums. I don't know the BPMs. Marco told me. Hold on. Marco did tell me. Hold on. I found something working on it. Okay, James is also working on his stuff. That's amazing. Good. We have more music from you. That's what I absolutely love. Files are there. Okay, I remember Marco wrote it to me. 138. There we go. I mean, right on the message. Okay. 138. As low as elderly home want it. Okay. So I'm going to go solo on the drums. I don't think the drums come in until bar 17 because Marco, like myself, likes to not start on 1. I do that as well. I usually offset all things so that it starts on 1 on session start. But I'm not going to do that because maybe his session is also 17, so it's okay. Okay. I see you can hear it. It's the intro without drums. Okay, awesome. I'm going to jump a little bit ahead here just to hear how the drums are going. I'm going to U to a -4.5 offset because I don't want to clip your stream. If it's too low, I'll bump it up. Okay, I like this. I'm going to start adding things just to get the groove going. I love how you drop the bass to that note before going through the root. Nice. I like this track. I saw what you were writing to Marco, and I think you agree. Tempo sync, that bass processor release. We're gonna replace that. That is like exactly that. It's actually compressing pretty much what it should, but there's what is it, like 200? I think it's a 0.2 that I usually have it on. Hold on, just curious. No, I think, is it on auto? No, it's a 300, right? I usually, sometimes I go for like 2.5, something like that. I definitely do not go these fast or anything. Yeah, we'll do that. If we have it bumped, there's sidechain that Marco's done already that's printed in, and I can hear it's working, it's perfect. But if we keep on mixing, we're gonna accentuate that a little bit. It will feel on tempo even on this, because I don't rely on tempo feeding for the final bass compressor, but you know, I don't write these stuff, obviously, so that needs to probably, to get a little bit more of that old school kind of SSL approach. This one sounds unbelievable. We gotta replace that though, because it's a McDSP night. Anyway, it's a Green Goblin day. So I like what I heard. I like that a lot. And I don't think there is an inherent problem with it, as usually happened with Marco stuff and things like this. This is all good. It can sound better, okay? But it's like there's no things to fix. I would get a little bit of that high mids details, something like a 3, maybe not even. It's like a 2.9, 6.6 kind of thing down, or even 7 kilohertz away from some of the snares and not even the hi-hats. There's something in the drums that I would like to be a little bit tamed, but it's just about more. I think the track is, for the PsyTrance that I'm gonna make, it's a little bit centered and it's nice, but I want to have it more like it's got a completely, it's called PsyTrance, so it needs to be like out there. I want to make it a little bit more spacey, and I want to add some of the longer reverbs that I have on the pedals, which just reminded myself the Avalanche run does not start on engage, starts on bypass. Remind me that if I haven't done it. Now I can see that it's on. So this is a land of the black hole and things, but there's a couple of things, and more bass, for sure, more bass. So there's something I want to do that I've done, I think, on mic stuff as well. I want to see if I can create a bus that I pitch down, and we send some of the drums too. Number one experiment. I'm not telling you this is how you should mix this genre or Marco's music and stuff. I just want to give you angles that will make you think like, okay, he's hearing this. Man, is this guy weird. Right? That's good. That's good. Man, like what he's done is the worst thing I've ever heard. I am not going to do it. I still taught you something, right? So I don't think you are not going to do it, however. I'm this bold. Also cocky. Maybe that's the better term. But I know it works. Maybe it doesn't. If it doesn't, I'll tell you. So I wanna add some space effect, like a little bit more side content. I want to get the vocals to be a little bit more into the reverb and some of the synths to be a little bit more affected. I want to get way more bass and heft in the drums. And I want to maybe kind of a large calzone with I'm kind of hungry, so I could get one, but that's not time for takeout. I'm thinking there's another thing I wanted to say. I want to give the drums a little bit of kind of a vintage vibe as well, and we do that -6, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is the -6er, and I'm thinking I have these in a patch, in a bus. I know I do. Why don't I have it here? Let me first check if I have it. I don't. I have DZ, which we're not using. Okay, let's do these. -6. That's exactly how I call it. It's unbelievable that it's not here. It needs to be using a track preset. I'm thinking I have it. What? No, logical? No, I don't want logical. No, 2 bus. Oh, okay, could be here. -6. There is no way I haven't saved these. I am the worst. The worst. Sorry, I had to say that. It's a reference to CVC. I cannot believe I haven't done this. Do you see it and I don't? No, come on. That would have been a one-off, like done, not thinking about it. But it's not here. It is impossible, however, because I know I did it. I didn't. I didn't save it. Track presets, lifesavers. You don't do it, they're not going to save your life. So we're going to do it from scratch. We're going to take, I'm thinking something that pitches things down. And I'm going to tell you what. The KHS pitch shift dial. Simple as that. And we're going to go either -6 or -7. I've learned these from people who do soundtrack scoring. Let's try. I'm gonna go -7. Can I just check something? Hold on. Do I have like a -5 and I have forgotten about it? Or maybe I called in -7? No, come on. Or maybe I called in -9. Hold on. I'm trying to average it. No, I didn't do it. All right, we're gonna do it here. So the principle is this: you go +7, you go a fifth up. Am I right or what? Because it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, but if you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, you're down to a perfect fifth descending. Okay, which is a perfect fourth ascending, right? So you're a fourth down, if you want to say that, or fifth up, +7, -5. But we're going -6, which is a trident, okay? It's forbidden in the old sense. So I want to drive some of the stuff to this thing, and then I want to get the bass to be a little bit stronger. So I'm going to solo the kicks here. Oh, I got to order this. No, come on. Now dragging's going to be insane here. Nuendo doesn't like that a lot. So let's do it from here. Sticks, snare rolls, snares. Good. Here. Claps, clave, crash, hat. People are going to hate this stream. They're going to say, you just talked. You just talked and told us nothing. Man, how dare you? You just wasted my life on this video. How dare you on YouTube be this unproductive? They're going to hate this. They're going to say that. I'm going to get that. Unless I edit all of these and make it like 10 things you didn't know about your iPhone, we're going to get crashed. Do we care, though? That's the question. We don't. We don't. So, okay, we're sending these to the -6er. I'm going to send these pre, and I'm going to solo these, and I'm going to just listen to it. And this should be fairly right here. Let's make a loop that is worth living for here. This one. What is my shortcuts? This one. Man, I found it. Okay, let's try this. Okay. As you can hear, we have a compensation problem. Let me try and go high. Ah, it doesn't quite work. Let me go grain size small. Okay. Now I'm gonna drop these. It's not doing it right. No, we need it consistent. So this one we can't use. Let's get back to another pitch shifter. I don't want to auto-tune it. What are we going to do? Hertz rider? Doppler? Pitch correct? Pitch correct. No, it's not pitch correct. Although it could be. This. Let's try that. Optimize. Male. Form and preservation. Let's try that. Okay. How about that now? I don't think it's correcting anything. Oh, this is a Foreman one. No, transpose. I've never used this, but I'm thinking this could work. Here, -6. Ah, it's not working. We could pitch it. No, this has to work. Trust me. We're gonna do pitch driver. Hold on. It is, trust me, important. I'm gonna go ultra pitch. Has this thing betrayed me? No. Ever. So we go a fifth down. No, here. Right here. Okay, I have trust in this guy. This. Now we're taking this and we're pumping it up. I know I'm reselling stuff that other people said. Don't worry. Okay? -6. This guy. We're going to send these to all drums though, because this is going to become a drums thing. So it is no longer an effect, sort of. That one. I'm thinking that the kilohertz shifter had this problem because of the bus. If we send it to all drums, it might not do that, but it doesn't matter. Now we go max bass. Okay, and we blend these to very low. And I'm thinking I'm gonna go just max bass, or maybe original and max bass. I'll see. Okay. Is it canceling? Okay, so Marcus kick is actually in need of this kind of stuff. Let me go up here. This. It took me a little bit, but I did it. That's exactly what I wanted to achieve. How do I know it sounds good? I just feel it. It's just from the speakers themselves. So now we have a -6. I'm gonna play with these on other stuff as well. Let me just blend this guy in. Let me keep these. I don't want the pre-fader. We go post-fader. And now I'm gonna try and get these to all of these tracks. Right, boom. We're just gonna instantiate it when needed. Let me hear this. I cannot do otherwise, because if we don't set these first, I cannot do the next thing, which is to get the vintage vibe out of the drums. Okay, we do a before and after, okay? Without, with. I think it actually needs to be driven in a way that it is superior, the effect, to what I'm getting from the drums. I like that. Now it's balanced. Let me go to big toms or whatever. Let me see where it goes, because this is usually a percussive thing. But I'm using this on another genre. I think it's a nice thing to do. It can be used on anything, really. I like these better, especially when we're gonna drive the song and stuff. It feels a little bit more complete. Not on bass. I'm gonna find the big toms right here. Let's hear them. Okay, let's see. It might work, it might not work. Okay, could be maybe a little bit too much, but without, okay, without all of these. Okay, I closed myself in the corner. I knew I would do that. Does it undo things? Nah, it doesn't. I'm horrible. Okay, I know I want this, and man, I like this. It needs to be on the snare as well. Right, I'm gonna mute it as we go here, and we make this comparison. This is a small yet huge thing. -6 here. Okay, now I feel it. Now it's sustaining things, and we're getting into the old drums. I like that. I don't think I really need a lot more here. I just want to play these drums, and maybe we're gonna use a little bit of a bigger part right here. Right. Oh, awesome. And as everything's playing, I'm gonna do some McDSP magic here on the old drums, because I want to do a tiny little bit of AC 101 that for some reason nobody here knows how to use, right? Let me do 202. That's the right name. Okay. And then what we're going to do, once we're set here, we're going to do we do MC 2000? Yeah, we're going to do the 303. This one. Okay. So let me put them so that they have a context of working. This one. I'm going to do multi-band compression of this guy after I'm done with the AC 101, which is kind of like dynamics compression, like curvature of your analog channel. And then we do more of a tape kind of thing. Okay. But while the mix is going, do we have the loop going on? I think we do. Let's try that. Let's go. Now I'm bypassing things, so I know for sure they're not working. We start with 101. Okay, everything. Okay, I have. Can I be honest with you? It hurts to stop it. It hurts to pause it because it's just like I liked it before. I already said I liked it where it was before, but I just cannot get enough of the drums right now, how they are. And I am telling you now through Marco, I've been listening to a lot of PsyTrance. So I kind of have my ears a little bit set there. There's that sandy, organic presentation of a forward-driven, motivated drum kit that is really enjoyable. I like modern, the way it sounded, but the way I hear it and the way I would want this, the way I would build this band the producer, the vibe. I want to get that vintage thing without people knowing it's actually a vintage sound. Like when you're playing jazz and people go like, oh, I don't like jazz, but I like this guy when he's playing piano. And people go, well, this is jazz. Well, then I like jazz. This is how it should be. And this is, again, a teacher of mine used to say that all the time. So, I'm passing on information as usual. So it's that, like, this is a vintage drum electronic sound. And people go like, but I like my PsyTrance to sound very modern. I like these. Well, then I like vintage sounding drums. So to me, this is really what it said. Let me see if we can kind of pinpoint something that feels unnecessary right now, like, compressing this. But man, let's try that again. Let's go over it. I'm not going to touch these because I like where we were, but I'm going to keep them on screen because I make the mistake of hiding things. Let me try and get these to kind of speak to us a little bit more, okay? I'm not going to use the real-time analyzer. We just go with it, okay? I'm just going to solo some things around. It's a 3-band multi-band compressor. It's very, simple. 3 types of release, R1, R2, and auto. It's got a bite that lets transients through if you're raising it. Knee, comp, thresh, gain. Everything's kind of like, it's exactly like any other multi-band compression, only it is proof. It is another one. I like how it sounds. Maybe you don't. Maybe it works. Trust me. If it doesn't work, it's me. I'm saying this honest. So let me hear how this works, and I'll explain what I've done when we get there. Absolutely. Okay, I'm back. Somehow I have the feeling that the kick is not centered. Maybe something went wrong with the export. It should actually be mono. No. Or maybe it could be. But here it is. I don't know how that is going. Okay. But for sure, if it was a little bit, maybe because you exported it not right there, the -6 with what I'm doing with the pitch shifter could be shifting things around. So it gets enhanced by my -6. So definitely Marco is saying, somehow I have the feeling the kick is not centered and maybe something went wrong. We're going to try that around. But here's, I was about to say this. I was about to say the following. Then I read what Marco was saying. Trust me, I was going to say it even for the Marco didn't say it. So I love where this is going. And to think that this processing here has like 0, I think like my ears are red or something, because I hear my ears are very warm right now. Is that an indication that the mix is good? Maybe that is the case. We don't know. But I'm telling you this, like it hasn't happened in a while. Maybe it's winter. Maybe I'm getting cold. Maybe I'm just so still pissed off at today. Anyway, I love where these things are going. So, because I don't think I've ever had a stream where my ears were red. Are they? Maybe. I mean, they're warm for sure. Maybe they don't, they don't look like they're, But anyway, I just feel them warm. Is this excitement? Is this PsyTrance? Is this kicks that are not centered? I'm going to explain what is going on in a second. So you saw what I've done on AC 101, 202, and the MC 2000, the 3-band. Now, every little bit brought the drums to not give up. And man, I mean, do we have dynamic range in these drums? No, like we do, but is this a real drummer? By all means, no. Like we already have samples that are kind of pretty stationary there. Yet, it just feels like a completely different presentation. I will not go over how I have thought, like what my train of thought was on the 3 plugins. Just know this. Number 1, on my Patreon, there's plenty of explanation on this. Number 2, on my Patreon, you can ask me and I'll explain. Number 3, it would take me half an hour to tell you why I've done what I've done, the way I've done it. But think about this. It's since maybe at least 2008 that I'm using analog channel consistently. Not every time, but a lot. So I have my ears around it. I know how it reacts. I know how you have to listen for feeling, not for data, not for gain reduction meters. Just feel it, okay? And it takes a little bit of time. I love how the 671 is doing. I raised that. I want it to be more aggressive, less film, cinema, but I want to keep that. And man, the 2000 just went right down to the crossover points are so unbelievably right, I believe, in my opinion. But this will be how it is. And I'm telling you this, you drop the gain down and you hear what's happening. I want it to feel like I'm handling the samples that Marco had without actually having the samples. And I loved how the mid, the 2, was really the meat of all of it. It felt like I was band passing things around. It felt musical. It meant that the crossover points were fine. At that point, I just went for it. And it's all about, again, knowing what to do. I could take half an hour to explain this. I will not do it. Just watch this video, rewind it when you can see it, and look what I've done in what order, okay? Why have I done attacks at that point? Why have I done the bite after everything on the highs with such a fast attack? Try it. It makes sense. There's a reason for it. But he brought these to feel tape, but buoyancy driven, and it's just like I wanna, like it does not make me tired. It's not digital drums any longer, but it's not analog old school. Too much time. I'm not gonna spend more time on this. But the kick feels around. It feels like it's going around, right? It does. So I am not sure it is the kick print. It could be. So what we're going to do is we're going to take KHS stereo. We're going to put it here, and we're going to take a look at what is going on here. It could be. But I was gonna say that my -6 has either created or enhanced that off width lows for the kick. And I can hear it in this room. Boy, can I hear it. Can I tell you something? I would like to make this stream about, if it feels good, please do not fix it. Do not get fixated on fixing things. Because if it sounds, obviously, if Marco was producing these, I send him the mix and he says, I don't like it, let's fix it, we fix it, okay? But on absolute terms, if you're doing this and it feels right and you've listened to a lot of music in your room and you feel that confidence, you want to just jump, do it this way. We can address this even later on in the basses, in the mix, with bass lane, and it's not fixing it later, it's about keeping the drums to vibe the way we want. I like these very much. I just want to see if the kick is stereo or not for kicks. For kicks. For kicks. Can you believe me doing jokes on a week like this that I had? Unbelievable. Kick is dead in. Maybe there's an effect that is drum reverb, maybe. Nope. I think it's, maybe it's this. Hold on. No. So this is really me. It's possible. Let's read it here. Let's move. This guy doesn't register. So channel correlation is just 0. So let's move. Let's drop this. It's too far out. And let's go to -6. Let's go to the old drums bus and let's drop these KHS stereo right here at the very end, okay? And let's see where the drums are. It's definitely off. So look at this. And now, if I bump the -6 away, let's try this, without what the bass I did. This is dead center. Is it dead center on us? It is. Like my meters are centered. So I see it's centered. But it doesn't center itself when we're doing the -6. So that's why I had this thing right here, okay? So this one, let me ditch it because I don't want to do it. Let me do KHS stereo right here. What I'm going to do, you see why I've put this here, right? I can handle this setting. I could width 0 for the -6, and let me actually do it. Let's pan it centered, have the width of 0, so the effect just implements the kick here. But you hear what's happening right now, right? We're kind of like blending it in because it's too narrow. Okay? So now, if we want to do that on the drums, we could use bass lane, for example, just to give an example, and kind of center it from where we want. I would rather do this if the mix feels nice than do other stuff. So let me try this. See how we got the 30 hertz bumped away here? We can just go sub filter, you know, and it's kind of like center it, you know, or here. But you also notice how the kick is skewing sideways on the highs, right? But the highs wouldn't be a problem because they kind of sound like a hi-hat, for example. But for your mix, this is more like, this could be better. I have a reverb and automation on a few places on the kick. Can you know, I'm taking full responsibility. I'm taking this out, but just wanted to show you that with bass lane, you will nail it to either yours or your client needs. It's just the reason why that plugin needs to be in your arsenal. I don't get money for it. Don't spend money if you don't have it. Trust me, I've learned that. So, but man, it's an amazing plugin. Rune just does amazing plugins. It's just there. But if it bothers you or will bother everybody else, I don't care. We're going to keep it going this way because to me, it is an unbelievable it is spacing out the way I have. Marco says, I have reverb and automation on a few places on the kick. That could also build up to it, but the effects are going somewhere else and the drums are getting the true life thing. I like this. And now what we're going to do is, man, we're going to handle bass. We're going to go for the buses. Let me see. Okay, so Marco had sidechained for sure, I'm thinking, because I hear it going there, the bass track with the kick. I don't really think there's the need for us to do these changes. Let me see if the filter is happening. It shouldn't. We could do more of this. Be honest with you, I kind of like what you did, Marco. So I don't feel like it should. Am I dancing to this? Yes. So honest, why would I increase the sidechain to it? It's already kind of sounding on the spot. But I still wanna 101 it and 202 it. Because I'm rolling with this. And Mike, who isn't here, said, why don't you do McDSP? Because I'm gonna watch it later. What if this video wasn't available to the people of the future? That'd be horrible. Then another thing I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna still take the 303, the MC. I'm not gonna use compressor bank. We're gonna do the same treatment for our bass, okay? And again, watch me in what I do first and last and what I come back to once things are set. Bypass everything. Let's go. I like this. You hear how the bass is just like coming information like an airplane to the drums, right? And when you get them out, these three plugins on bass, it's just like the bass player is not playing with the drummer, and the drummer's like, I cannot carry the whole thing by myself. Where are you, bass player? And there it is, the bass player, without actually having too much point added to it, too much, mid part. But I think the sound you got, Marco, here is really complementary to the drums. It feels the right spot, but because now the drums are kind of like, more pronounced somehow, like more exposed, more present, more detailed, there's room for the bass to feel that. Otherwise, it feels behind. So same processing, no invented anything, zero latency, zero probably about CPU usage, amazing sound. I'm telling you, there's pro, and then there's like, no, this is really pro. Like, I don't know if your ears can tell. Maybe it's me being so amazing. Ask Colin to give me generous donation. I don't know. I don't think I'm really that amazing, unfortunately. I think it's just I'm used to them. These things are reliable, dependable, they work. I wish I was this genius using crappy plugins. I wish, these were crappy plugins. Unfortunately, these are good plugins. So, all right, now it's synths. I gotta be honest with you, the synths kind of, I don't think I want to do the same thing. We're gonna use something nobody has ever done. Marco says, I did almost the same thing on the bass bus, just with different plugins. Yo, guys, this is Marco making his song, and he's saying, I didn't know, I'm thinking, I agree. If we did the same thing, I'm thinking we're hearing there's the same thing necessary. Isn't it fine? James is like exporting his stuff. Now he's gonna hear his name getting called. He's exporting the mix for next week. Isn't that amazing that we have like such? This is a live workshop. Ah, beautiful. Okay, synths. I'm not thinking the synths need that much. Also, you remember when I said that there was some high mids that were kind of bothering me? They're kind of gone. This is the moment you get a little bit tired and you want to have more because your ears are tired. I'm actually feeling right off the bat, I heard this processing is also taming the highs when they're too much. Faster attacks on the MC2000 for the high bands, but more bite. Remember this trick, okay? Faster attacks, so they grab more, but then you use the bite to let some of the sprinkles out. Now, synths. I want to close these on time, but I'm Italian. Can I close things on time? Is this really legal for me? Can I do that without being prosecuted? Let's try that. Now, synths. All right, these are all the synths. Man, there's a lot, but we don't fear them. I'm gonna take. Do we change spot? You know what? We're not really. We keep going from where we were. I think it's fine. Hold on there, boy. Setting expectations like that. I just read it on Discord. You wrote it. You wrote, I'm exporting. I found something. I'm exporting. Maybe, I'm not on Discord right now. I'm at work. I'm working, That's not entirely the same thing the meme says. So, synths bus. I think we just need this. Okay, let me ditch this. What do we have here? A little bit more, a little bit less mid, so a little bit more side content. The synths are getting filtered. You know what? It doesn't matter. I like how they are. But let me do this. Let me take the SPC 2000 and let me go 3-band on it. We don't need to go 4. Okay. Now this, I doubt everybody, has anybody used this? Probably. You should have. Let's go. I'm going to tell you what it does. Okay. I'm just so you know, these are the 3 bands like before, but you can go parallel, serial, mode 3, mode 4, mode 5. Okay. Now see what mode 3 does. See what mode 4 does. Okay. See what mode 5 does. We're going parallel. Easy. Let's go. Wait, did I put it on strings? No, I did. Hold on, sorry. It had to happen. It had to happen. Is this guy the right one? Yes, okay, I'm not sleeping. Like this again, people can say like, oh my god, stopped, horrible. James says, I've done the 1176 relay 2 thing with the SPC in serial mode. Absolutely. Like this is just routed for convenience, and you can do everything with it. And people have been using this plugin methodology without actually using the SPC 2000 in various things. Now, you don't get the coloration of the analog mojo of saying an emulation for an 1176, blah, blah, blah. But the system is this one. But this is so in control. The UI is just 100% there. And man, and this thing is, again, few lines of very good code, or maybe many lines, I don't know, but it's very efficient. So it just doesn't leave a mark on your CPU. This is unbelievable what this is doing. I love what it is. Now, what I've done here is, again, taste. There's 3 compressors in parallel. They're working full spectrum. But what they're doing here is that the main difference is that I have, let's start from 3, a very low ratio compressor that is also very, very fast on grabbing, but also very fast on releasing. And it's just compressing and doing its thing on just the micro management of it. I have something on one that is kind of the opposite. I'm having a very long attack and I have a very long release. So this one takes a lot of time to kick in, and once it has kicked in, right, because the attack is long, Space says, I'm learning so much here. I'm super happy it's happening. So number 3 is fast, right? It grabs on transients, but it also lets go very fast. And it has a very low ratio. So it's kind of like micromanaging. It wants to say a lot of things the moment they happen, but then it kind of forgets about it. And it's like, all right, it's all good, And it doesn't really, doesn't really bring a lot, but it's constantly saying something because of where it's put. But it doesn't want to change the topic that much or bring too much to the table. Number 1 is kind of the opposite. So it's got a stronger ratio. So whatever it says, it's, it waits. But it takes it a longer time to just put what it's decided to do on the table, But once that stuff is on the table, it's going to stay there for a longer time. So it is kind of complementary. It's kind of a different character. You have to think like these are three, party members of a fellowship of the ring. They're really different types of adventurers right here, right? Three different types of characters. One is a ninja, but it's a very weak. The other one's like a strong tank, it takes time to hit, but when it does, it really leaves a mark. And the guy in between is kind of like, jack of all trades. It's got a 4-1, that's true, but it's still moderately, that's the word I'm looking for. Slow, it's kind of in between, but it's kind of fast on its toes, and it's not really, however, like compressing a lot. It's like in between. So the sum of all these things just get the scenes to be always interesting. Marco put some stuff on kind of, you heard those high percussion, that stuff. This thing is almost saying like, oh, this is a feature. Okay, now we go for feature. And so you hear that this compressor is not compressing because it's parallel. It feels like those things are even more in front. Like, it's a show and they're on the front of the stage. Some other times you have support and this compressor says, oh, you want support? We got support. I'm going to support. And it's like bringing more energy up. And it's always kind of like averaging together. There's always one of the compressors who might be wrong for that, but there's the other adventurer that can kind of defend. Or you always counter the enemy with something that is appropriate. So these three are really complement. I don't know. I just made a video game reference out of a compressor. Nobody's ever done that for McDSP. I don't know. The presentation, says Marco, is also much more direct. Exactly. Now, I could take the argument that it's requiring the listener to be more like grabbed by the shirt. I can give you that. Now, if this is the case, this is my personal tip from experience. I've made this mistake many times. What are you going to do? Most of us, I've done that mistake, will take the parameters of the compressor and start reworking them. Do not follow on my mistakes. Take the output knob and lower it down or raise it because the behavior is fine. This is all parallel. So just, you're bringing maybe a little bit more up, just bring it down. If you want, take somebody on master and gain the balance of it down, maybe instead of using the output, if you just want to get the gains to be reworked. But in my idea, I like to kind of bring everything down from the output, but should you want to bring the parallel contribution down, you can work the gains and that you can lock one of the masters so that they kind of follow, or the opposite. I always forget, but there's a way to do that. I don't want to touch these things, so you'll have to find on your own. Who am I? Am I working for McDSP or what? I am not. So who cares? No, but it's true, okay? Remember what I've said, because what I've said is serious. Don't. The jokes are also very serious, but the serious stuff is also not a joke, okay? So what now? Effects. Okay. Oh, well, the vocals. Let's close on the vocals, because I'm thinking, like, I don't even want to retouch things around. Oh, we got to do the ML4000. All right, so let's work our backs off. I'm not touching the effects, because they have been treated in relation with what we've done. I like where they are. I'm not going to touch them. I think it's appropriate. But here, the vocal could kind of, what are we going to, okay, we go for something. Now I'm doing it on purpose, okay? I'm picking something out of my memory, and this is going to be the 6060. When the 50 came out, I have done pretty much a lot of initial scores, end of 2019, when my studio was, with the pandemic, actually then it really took a hit. But in 2019, we closed some ensemble music stuff we were doing with some friends in Berlin, and I started looking into getting into composing again. And there it was, again, McDSP. I was like, what am I going to use? McDSP. But something new they had that I hadn't used a lot was the 6050. And this is the 6060, which has a little bit more stuff, features, okay? But it's essentially the same. You'll see my oldest streams, Video Game Composer, are actually on a lot of 6050. So I've used it tons, okay? But we're using this one today. So let's, why am I talking so much, trying to please my mom's failed attempts at loving me as a child? All right, let's try that. I love these. I remember Thuuuuursday did something in about 2004 that fell into Shrek. One of my teachers gave it to me and was like, "Here, listen to this song." And I did a midterm where I kind of tried to re-emulate those vocals for an iPod commercial. Amazing. Like, yeah. I mean, I cannot, maybe not even quote the song, but here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a compressor first. And I'm thinking I'm going to go up to C3. We're going to take an EQ afterwards, which, believe it or not, is going to be, the mu Q. To heck with it. And then we're going to do we're going to give it kind of a Neve vibe. And not all took, okay, one, and then we're going to do a parallel right here, okay? Maybe actually we could attempt at taking a tape here. No, not a tape. I want to take a PDQ. PDQ, that's amazing. Did you get the reference? And then we're going to go B right here, and we're going to go more. We're going to take some saturation, these as S61, or maybe, yeah, okay. Well, let's keep it there and make a B part, okay? So here's how it's going to work. The plugins get turned on, the modules with the yellow buttons on the numbers, and we have an A route until number 4. And then we go B route, so these are parallel, okay? I'm probably going to take a limiter again right here. What did I used to do? No, we're doing this, okay? So we have A that has opto, mu Q, 23 PDQ, and then 71 and C671 that are gonna be our B route, okay? For parallel injection of saturation or whatever. I might use a different type like the D100. I don't know. I'm still thinking the 100 one I want to use. But no, we're gonna go with this one, okay? But now everything's off, so it doesn't matter. I even have the bass B off. Let's try that. Okay, I want more gain, so this is punched in. I like that. Can I be honest with you? This could be the thing, okay? Can I be honest with you? This could be all it needs. We just end it there because I don't think, this should be like extremely over-featured. But we pretend, okay? Let's keep going. Improvement. Okay, $5 more. Let's go. It's like when you're playing jazz, all right? Play chord for a singer. It's like this was 5, this was 6 feet. So this is another $5. Now we go here. I know already what I want to do. I like the 1.5. I want the attack. We'll keep there. We go fast recovery. Feedback, yes, because I kind of like there. And we see where we want to go here. Yes. Have you heard that lower part? It blends into the harmony so much that it will be hard to hear, but we compensated for. Man, I love this. I now think we need all 3. Let's go with 4. Let's go with this one. This is probably not necessary, okay? This is kind of a pool tech kind of thing. Okay, I missed it. Hold on. I was trying to find 220. Okay, I'm thinking this is okay. Probably 0 with everything. You know what? Let's try white here. No, we don't need these. Okay, so I can mute it, or I can go here and go no module. So now we go on this one. Now this is the parallel. So I can easily mute these, the A, and here just the B. Have you heard it? So we're getting these extremely bright but beautiful, musical, beautiful, Fairchild kind of thing. Now I want to compress it though. Okay, now we blend it in. It's, again, can I be honest? It's being overkill. Like, it was fine until the 23, but to prove a point. All right, so I was fearing this. I kind of like it better tilted down. It needs to feel more of the lower parts. I kind of like that. Level-wise, we could compensate or not. I don't know. I mean, this is now more of a matter of style. If I had to be honest, like I remember the chills I had when it was muted, the B. So I would just keep it at these 3, you know, because again, proving, well, case in point, this is it. So we keep it, we like it, we pretend Marco loves it as well, who's the producer for this, gets a call 4 a.m. in the morning, and he's like, I just listened to this, just came back from San Francisco. Man, this is unbelievable. We got to get these out because these sponsors they're going to bring the advertisement out a week earlier. Are we ready on that? And I'm like, I just need the ML4000 and we're done. Okay, and this is where I bring in the 4000 ML4, right? We close it. Okay, so yes, I have a preset. Yes, it should be in here. Alberto's Mix Bus. Introducing. Because it takes me 2 hours to redo it, so we'll work with these. Gates are off. Expanders and compressors are on. We're going to work without the expander first, just for you, because I usually go random. And we are going to set it and then expand, okay? So all the compressors are, it doesn't matter what you're looking at, the compressor is globally on and the expander is globally off. The limiter is off for now, okay? We're not using the limiter part. I could, so they use one plugin, but I don't care. Let's go. Let's go from where we were used to, and then we go. right? So it is working and it's giving it a very nice vibe, but we are not compensating for gain as much as we're losing it. So the compressed part feels less energetic than the original, which is good. You know, if it doesn't work, you just take it off. But remember that we have not engaged the expander. And the reason why this thing exists is for the interaction of the two. So this is where it really, really goes. Now I can hear it, that it's got a lot more cohesiveness. The highs are, everything is more expensive. Like you hear this and you go like, okay, well, they paid money for it. And it's like, who mixed this? Alberto Rizzo Schettino. Oh, that's gotta be, that is incredibly, why didn't you say that? It's super expensive. But imagine they don't know that I mixed this and that I asked first money of it. It's not true. I'm fair. But anyway, it feels more expensive. The highs are there, but not too much. The mids are forward, but like they get out of every speaker, low or high volume. The low mids are kind of like blended in. The lows I really didn't want to over push because I kind of like how they're breathing. But again, when I turn it off, it is louder without, okay? Because we're compensating less than we are actually crashing down. Not really crashing down, but you get the idea. But the expanders are off. The game is about the forces of evil and the forces of good fighting constantly over the land, okay? This is where we're gonna go. Compressors, bad. Expanders, good, okay? The black cards versus the white cards. Unfortunately, that's how Magic the Gathering, the colors were, you know? But ML4 is an expensive plugin. That's what it said. So the Necromancers versus the forces of healing and lights. All right, so I made enough comparison. Let's go to turn the expanders on. Before we do that, let's keep these on. And remember, I'm talking to you, so this would be very instinctual. I usually do things a bit of a random thing, but let's keep these where it is, and let's try and get the compressors in. Sorry, the expanders in. We turn the expander on, but we also move to the expander tabs. Otherwise, we're gonna still be working on the compressors. I made that mistake 1,000 gazillion times. It is already something else, okay? I'm gonna just play it a little bit and then engage the compressors without me having touched it. Remember, this is my preset. I do know this. And hear what happens to the mix when the exp goes on. Okay, we hear it. We know what's going on now. It's the forces of pull versus the forces of push. But it is too much. But this is now how you get the idea, okay? That's why my preset said that way. It's just, you hear it, but now we tune it. like this. Now I retouched, like, did you see me what I was doing here? The fun thing, did I get the chuckle? But that's how I cannot, that's a good thing. I think you can look at me and just see what I'm doing and I don't interrupt the music. I came up with this thing. Is it working? I just did this, right? When I was doing this, it's like, it's holding back. It's not fully committed. It's not there. When I was doing this, it's like, it's kind of like, it's roaring. It's like it's charging. It's there. It's on the thing. It's on stage. It's the gig of its life. It's the DJ is like, it feels like, wow, who's this producer? I can see the lights going on. The guy's there with the decks and everything. It's just like I'm living an amazing gig here. But when it's off, it's, I'm listening to these guys' music on Beatport. And there was a nice gig. I wasn't there, but they recorded it. And it's an amazing piece of music, but it's there. The other ones, right, it just overexcites me a lot. So I think it's better. When I turned it off, it wasn't bad. It was still moving, but I think this keeps it under control. And remember, if you test these on different speakers, you'll find more often than not that a treatment done this way, allows every speaker to kind of average their issues, okay? You got small speakers, it will sound a little bit better on small speakers. It will sound a little bit better on medium speakers for people who have it in rooms that are not optimal. So even if for some reason the unprocessed gives you that feeling of maybe it's got a little bit more life, it could be, it happens, So it's still being pushed and pulled a lot. So the original kind of has that, it's freer. But you average the problems rather than enhancing. Although I think it's really enhancing the thing, but I don't want it to be, like overexcited, like a drug or something. I don't want it to be overhyped. And that's what was happening, that much. But this preset, man, I've sent so many pieces of music through this preset. Have it made it successful? It hasn't. So you gauge whether you want to use it or not. So, and we're not even limiting. Should we try and limit it just for kicks? Not with this one, but with the actual kind of like here. We should try, maybe. Let's try and play just so we hear the ML1, one of the limiters I've used the most. I really love where that is, but let's see where we end up without actually making it louder. I'll try and compensate threshold and ceiling so that we hear the behavior. We are making it louder, but because of how it works, but I don't really care we're doing that. If we really didn't want to intervene here, let's do that. Let's do this. Because we have the ML1, that's the it's after that it works. So let's keep this where it is, and let's just do the limiter here. It's the same engine, but just so we have it down differently. So let me save these here. Let me go to B. Yeah, it is louder because I told you, like, I just want to hear how the room is, but it's not that much louder, but it is. So we're not doing, just not be fooled. It needs to be unity gain, blah blah blah. It isn't. But now smart mode, I haven't used that much on this limiter. I usually go either clean or loud. When I go loud, I really do not touch it that much. Smart is weird, but this one kind of has it going. You heard when Marco had that sound that goes wham and it opens up. It really emphasized that mid to side movement. Kind of like that. It is, you can hear it. It is a limiter. It's giving it that, it feels like a class A to D converter, like a Burl Bomber, something like that. It's just giving it that officiality, the realness, but it is still like top quality, man. These two things you see here, they're my imaginary friends. Like, when I'll be old, I'll be talking at a elderly home that I cannot by all means afford, but say they do not find out, they haven't found out yet. So I'm like still chilling and they haven't realized I'm completely broke. I cannot afford the elderly home. I'm there, I'm still enjoying cruising and I have a table and I'm like sipping and having tea. And it's like, like I'm playing with stuffed toys, but I'm not. I see my imaginary friends. It's probably going to be these two folks here. These two plugins I've used for so long. And I'll be talking like, oh, yeah, hi, I'm a 4. And somebody's like, who's he talking to? His plugins. His what? That's what is going on. So, people, before the elderly home kicks me out, finding out that my balance is close to zero, more than I think, they're checking my rooms right here. So let's close this because I have to pack my bags and go. But I just wanted to say, unbelievable. I had a lot of fun. Thank you, Marco, for doing this, for sending me the tracks. Did we touch the single tracks? No. We did a -6. We did effect. We brought in a lot of bass things. But why did we do that? Because we listened to the music and I felt the priorities were those ones. Just did it, like drums, bass, synths, little bit of vocals, mix bus. No change in effects, no external pedals, no nothing. McDSP all the way. Yes, we have a working mix bus that has a little bit more of other plugins. I showed it at the beginning, but it works. You know what? I'm not touching it more than that. So I love this. I love to do this. This is the Thursday Mixdown. We take music, hopefully from you watching these, send it my way, and I'll mix it, and I'll tell you that I'm having a really good time because that's the truth, right? I'm seeing space. This was great. Thank you so much. You're welcome. This is why we're here. Thank you, too, says Marco. Thank you, Marco. You're most welcome. And that's it. You have all the links down there. I'm going to leave you your evening. Friday is almost here, so hopefully we'll survive. Remember, never check your mail on Fridays. Go on Mondays. It's going to ruin your weekend. Don't fall prey of fear. Do I know that? Man, this week's been hard. So now more than ever, am I happy to be here, do this. Check the links down. My Patreon, you know what I do. There's gazillions of stuff like this, and very amazing, super people like Marco, like James. Space is always here. He's not a patron, but he's just a super nice people in person as well. It's not that you need to be a patron to be awesome, but check those links out. My life is in this room and in that patron, all right? Thank you very much. Ciao.